My name is Alberto Onetti, Chairman and President of MENA Bridge, and welcome to our Scaleup Summit MENA, digitally hosted by the Dubai Chamber. Just a couple of words for introducing MENA Bridge. MENA Bridge, as you might know, is an innovation advisory firm. We work at the intersection between the world of large corporations and startups. And we have a global approach and a vertical agnostic approach, meaning that we try to merge innovation, bridge innovation from corporate to startups, independently from the sectors and industry of belonging of the different players. We have, as you might see, a very, very international footprint. We have headquarters in San Francisco, offices in LA, in the United States. We have a pretty large footprint in Europe and in the Middle East, plus our new office in South Korea, in Seoul. What we do for a living, again, we try to answer a big need, that is the corporate innovation hunger, and we try to feed it through different services we provide to large corporations, namely startup scouting. We scout for the best solution at global level that are able to answer the different challenges our corporate partners might have. So we do what is technically called scouting and matching. On the other hand, we provide with, let's say, open innovation intelligence and benchmarking, helping our corporate partners to shape their open innovation initiative in a way that they work. Because as you might know, open innovation is a buzzword today, and there is a lot of talking and not much doing. It's what is called innovation theater. And again, the corporate at the end are really able to produce and deliver results in terms of innovation are just a few. And we have the ability and the opportunity to know them, to work with them, and also we are able to share the best practice with other corporate partners that might be interested to start with the right foot, or also to readjust some of the initiatives they might currently have in order to make them properly work. And at the end, as you might see at the end of this presentation, we just launched, or actually we put together in a platform that's called MENA Bridge Ecosystem all our knowledge that is coming out from years of research in the world of startup open innovation. But again, we will spend some time later. In here, you can see some of our corporate partners, but let's move to the topic of the day, that is the Scaleup Summit. So the Scaleup Summit is our format that we have been running since a while. Actually, we started trying to bridge the world of startups, or even better, scale-ups, and the world of corporates back in 2014, with the support and the patronage of the European Commission, that they wanted to produce some results at the intersection of these two big worlds. And so we launched an initiative, some new formats called matching events, and down the way we evolved these formats into turning what is today, that is the Scaleup Summit. But we have a short video that can tell you our most recent experience. As you might know, we have been impacted by COVID, the pandemic, so we have been forced to turn a format that was beautifully working in the old physical way, in-person meetings, into something that has been digital, and now we're coming back into an hybrid form. You have seen our mantra that is evolve or be extinct. Obviously, any format, whatever the fact that is working or is not working, needs to be constantly evolved. And so we move from something that was a very, very fully digital experience. We were used to bring into a global location, typically the stock exchanges, corporates and startups, scale-ups from all over the world, in order to facilitate meetings. Then we've moved this format to a fully digital shape, and now we're going back to something that is leveraging the potential of the digital economy. Again, one-to-one matching works beautifully in a sort of one-to-one digital settings, but also at a certain point we need to go back to some physical interaction, and that's why the new hybrid format is something that we are going back. And then this MENA summit will have a physical component. It will be actually next Monday, and we will discuss later on with Natalia Sycheva of Dubai Chambers, that is our digital and physical host. And then starting from our next summit, if you can see from the previous slide the agenda of the year, starting from our next summit, we'll be hosting our beautiful innovation center in Barcelona, the next summit that will be focused mostly on Europe. Then we'll go back to Seoul, leveraging the Next Rise conference, but also leveraging our presence on the ground to empowering the experience of connecting to the Southern Asia ecosystem. And then we'll go back to San Francisco in September at our innovation center for hosting something that we hope will be definitely have a stronger physical component. And at the end of the year, we'll come back to Europe. London will be the venue of choice for this year. And as you might see, and we'll discuss in a bit, we will also host there the annual celebration of corporate startup stars. Let's focus a bit on this summit. As mentioned, the focus is the MENA, the Arab region. Obviously, there is the big elephant in the region is Israel. It obviously is the largest contributor of innovation, not just for the region, but for the world. But there is a growing ecosystem, fast-growing ecosystem, that is the UAE and specifically Dubai. That's where we are having and running this summit. That is very, very interesting for its ability not only to grow fast, but also to ability to act as a catalyzer for the other 18 countries that are building up the region. And so there is a very, very vibrant ecosystem that is fastly growing, and that is the goal of the Scaleup Summit, to bring international corporates to take a more deeper look at the best innovation, the best scale-ups out of the region, and also understanding what are the trends that are being developed in the region. Let's take a look at the program of the Scaleup Summit. As mentioned, is no longer a 2 days event. It's something that is typically spread over a month of activities. The official opening has been is today, March 23rd, sorry, and then we'll have some other components that will be up and running. Actually, some of them already started. So we're putting in motion our matching machine, meaning that we have been our corporate international partners. Today we will hear from them, understanding what are the challenges they are currently they are currently looking for solution from the region and not only. And so we have been activated since the past 2 months direct scouting activities for them in order to identify the most interesting and promising scale-ups of the region to meet with. And so this you can see as the one-to-one matching session. In parallel, we are continuing to offering the ability to our scale-ups, the ability to work with large players is not exactly a walk in the park for a startup or scale-ups to work with a larger Fortune 500 multinational companies. So we provide with them direct support to be able to capitalize the opportunity to meet this large corporation, and particularly to go beyond the first meeting and to be able to generate business together or activate strategic and exit opportunities. And then also we try to leverage the knowledge of our corporate partners. We have 2 different formats. The first one is what we call Open Innovation Bootcamp. Again, we have been, as you can see in the slide, this is the one that will be organizing on April the 5th. the focus will be on corporate venture capital. Particularly, we will deep dive a very, very relevant topic, that is how corporate venture capital should measure their own returns. Because there's been research that has been conducted by the Stanford University Graduate School of Business. And based on this research, come out some, let's say, not exactly transparent results in terms of how these CVC are working. It looks like they are mostly working to the short term, looking for short-term results. It isn't something that is not exactly reasoning with what is the experience that we have working with many of them. So what we decided, together with also our partner Sifted Financial Times, my partner that is the editor-in-chief, to try to deep dive a bit into the topic. And so we put together a phenomenal panel of stellar CVC, moving from Allianz to Iberdrola to Maersk to Santander and L'Oréal. And we will discuss with them, plus our corporate partners and some other invited specialists, how they actually work, how they plan the investments, which is the horizon they are specifically looking at, and particularly how they measure their returns. This kind of format is, we would, by choice, we keep it very, very intimate. It will be by invitation only, but again, will be a great opportunity for us to learn even better what are the criteria that are moving these kind of players, and actually we will share back with the community what has been the main outcomes. And then again, we have another format that we currently run, as you can see in this slide. It's called the Mind the Chat. Anything that we do at Mind the Bridge, there is the word mind or the word bridge. In this case, we kept the word mind, and we added the concept of Mind the Chat. So the idea was to replicating the Fireside Chat we were having at our Innovation Center in San Francisco with some of the gurus of Silicon Valley, and make them available to the general audience. And so this is what is behind our Mind the Chat format, that are intimate discussion with innovation leaders from all over the world, particularly from corporate innovation leaders. And so you have the opportunity to understand what these corporates are actually doing in working with startups, how they are turning the blurry concept of open innovation into a practice, how they are producing results or planning to produce results. This is a format that we currently run, and particularly when we have a Scaleup Summit, we try also to complement these discussions with some discussion with some of the local players, in order that also our corporate partners that are taking, trying to get a bit more understanding and insights of the regions are able to also understand which is the local ecosystem or ecosystem, like the case of MENA, that are building up the area of scouting that we're looking at. So that's the format. And by the way, this format has been definitely powered by an initiative that we've been running since a while that is called Corporate Startup Stars. Again, going back to 2015, we were asked by the European Commission to try to also to identify which corporates were completely active in working with startup, were what's called startup friendly, and going beyond what is the innovation theater, what is just the pure communication, where they are actually able to produce results. And so we have been start working in identifying what are the real doers in the industry, and particularly the corporates that are really doing something that was relevant in the open innovation arena, with the goal not just to identify the best one and produce a ranking and give and distribute awards, but the main goal was mostly to recognize the best practice and share the best practice with others. So this has been the spirit that has been behind Corporate Startup Stars. And again, the initial focus of our action was Europe. And 2 years ago, thanks to an invaluable partnership that we initiated with ICC, International Chambers of Commerce, we have been able to bring this context from regional to global. And so today we're talking about the global Corporate Startup Stars, and every year we produce a ranking of the best corporates in the world, not just the best one, but the one that are definitely more able to produce results in terms of collaboration with startups. I have a short video that is explaining what we have done in the past few years, specifically last year, and then I will have the pleasure to have with me today John Denton, that is the Secretary General of ICC. So welcome, John.
Alberto, fantastic to see you. It's great to see those photos of that dinner. What a fun dinner that was, and what an interesting time we had together. Of course, the context has completely changed, Alberto, and if I could, I know there are a lot of people on this line, but I just want to draw your attention to some of the challenges before I talk a little bit about the importance of this relationship. As many of you would know, the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, is playing a leading role in battling the humanitarian consequences of the illegal invasion of Ukraine by Russia. At the moment, as many of you would know, there are almost 1 in 4 people in Ukraine have lost their houses, and there's something like 1 in 10 people have actually been forced out of the Ukraine. So that's almost 4 million people, refugees already, outside the borders of Ukraine, and something like 10 million people already displaced within the Ukraine. We are mobilizing global business to support. We want a durable humanitarian support for all these people, and we are working with UNHCR, UNICEF, the World Food Programme, and the International Red Cross. And actually tonight I'm joining as the private sector representative. The UN Secretary General has launched an international crisis group out of the UN, and there's about 6 or 7 of us which have gathered together to try and mobilize more support. So if you have an opportunity, when you have a moment, there are lots of ways to help and support, and I do actually invite you to look at that. And it's actually one of the founders of this program, Candace Johnson, has also launched some pretty remarkable, innovative ways of supporting these people. And let's not forget that of the millions now outside the Ukraine, 80% of them are women and children. And so we are going to need to mobilize to support them build durable opportunities for themselves, because they're going to be stuck there for a long time. And in a way, that's part of what we do. And in a way, that's also part of what we talk about when we talk about giving skills and capabilities for entrepreneurship. And as you know, our role in life is not just to help find the next unicorn. It's actually to help people develop a meaningful livelihood for themselves on their own, because often that's all they can do. So it's an opportunity for us. So if I can, again, after talking a little bit about that context, and I hope you will allow me to have actually raised those issues with you.
It's something that I wanted to ask, because actually I want you also to thank you for carving out the time, because I know that currently your main focus of attention is on the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. And so again, I'm particularly thankful for having you here, given the circumstances, and I'm with you. I'm really thankful for all the work that you guys are doing, and we definitely will follow suit and we'll try to help as much as we can. But again, going back to our real contribution, that is helping to having a better business world. That is why I think we are continuing this incredible partnership between Mindbridge and ICC for promoting open innovation across the globe. And then today we are officially launching the 2022 edition. And again, I wanted to have you for kickoff the launch.
Yeah, look, thanks so much, Alberto. And at the heart of entrepreneurship, in the end, is people building their own futures. And what I love about the Startup Awards, Startup Stars, is it's putting together a whole lot of people who are not afraid to take risks and helping them. actually take more risks and build the capability to enable that. And actually, that's what we do as well. And what we want to do is really, in this concept that we've built and we're creating alongside you, and we already have operating in MENA itself, this concept of the ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship, which is a global platform that we've launched. Our idea is to create the world's largest global ecosystem to enable South-South, North-South cooperation between entrepreneurs. Innovation doesn't come from the North alone. Innovation comes from anywhere. And what we're doing through the Centers of Entrepreneurship is actually hopefully empowering individuals to become part of that, and empowering individuals to take control of their lives, empowering individuals to really want functioning market economies, and therefore empowering individuals to help us deliver on our mission, which is enabling business worldwide to secure peace, prosperity, and opportunity for all. And what we do is we support, prepare, connect, and mobilize the next generation of entrepreneurs. And that, I think, is really an important part of why we're actually joined up with you guys. And frankly, it's a very productive and a very enjoyable collaboration. We tackle on 4 areas where we look at centers of entrepreneurship, inspiring future entrepreneurs, and hopefully today we're doing that a little bit. We also focus practically on digitizing SMEs, small medium enterprises globally, because we want them to be able to deliver innovation through the digital platform. But if they don't have access to digitization or digital skills, it's pretty hard. Scaling up startups, which is what today's launch is all about, and also fostering inclusive entrepreneurship. By the way, yesterday, with all the national committees of the ICC, and there's more than 100 of them, we launched our Open for Business World Business Pride concept as well, where the ICC is engaging directly in a partnership now to foster even more inclusive entrepreneurship by bringing LGBTIQA into the mainstream of entrepreneurship globally. And for us, that's an important step forward. Particularly, as you know, there is more difficult jurisdictions where there are negative laws affecting our ability to deliver inclusiveness, but we are committed to that. And so we work with global, regional, local partners to ensure our programs are relevant. And we actually work to enhance local and international startup ecosystems together with you. And we learn a lot, by the way. I mean, this is a new venture for me. Many would say that I've always been an entrepreneur because I've always been prepared to take risks and not very comfortable in bureaucratized or process-driven settings. But I've actually learned from you guys how you can systematize that and create proper ecosystems. But it's really important for us to build those programs. And just so you know, just going back to my opening comments, we will be launching an ICC Center of Entrepreneurship for Ukraine, for the diaspora. And we'll be doing that by a combination of virtual and face-to-face, but using existing programs we've already developed at our Center of Entrepreneurship in Istanbul, in Beirut, and elsewhere. And in particular, we'll be focusing, given that 80% on women entrepreneurs, the skills to help women, and will be women in this complex environment. We will be staying, by the way, in Ukraine as the ICC, so we'll maintain a presence there. And also with the chambers, we're supporting them. But what we're doing is improving the opportunities for women to participate and build their own businesses by actually building capacity building partnerships and programs and tools. We've actually co-developed trade and information portals called e-trade hubs. We've actually done that to help women entrepreneurs scale up and digitize their businesses. And we want to make all that available. As I said, that 80% is also women and children. And so we're very focused on youth as the next generation as well. In fact, after this discussion, we've just launched what's called an historic partnership with the OECD, an MOU, where we're linking together with the OECD globally to help with other groups as well on what's called the Stand By Youth Initiative to raise awareness of the issues affecting youth, in particular following the COVID-19 pandemic, which is continuing. It's not over yet, but also in the current crisis. And so we're seeking to rally the business community. And one way to rally the business community is to answer that question, how can I help? Well, you can help in the following way. You can help by actually getting involved in developing entrepreneurship ecosystems. Because in the end, people say, so-and-so should just get a job. Well, what happens when there are no jobs? Well, you have to actually develop your own. And that's really what entrepreneurship is about. And so what you guys do is so important, and what those involved in this call, I think, are able to do is sometimes more than you think. You can actually give people hope that from your experience, it's possible to build something out of nothing in some cases, or just from an idea, and how you'd link all that up, build the skills, get connected, be part of an open innovation system. This is all learnings that you can pass on through mentoring. By the way, to be a mentor, you don't have to be my age. You can be a mentor at any age. You just have to actually have a mindset about that you want to share your experience. And I'm much younger than I look, I might tell you as well. So I'm really pleased to kick off the 2022 Corporate Startup Stars Award today during the summit in the MENA region. So glad for the opportunity to talk to you. So glad that we actually have institutions like the ICT Centre of Entrepreneurship, campaigns around digitization already. And so glad that part of our program is actually this partnership with Mind the Bridge. And we look forward to this edition, the 2022 edition. And we really look forward, as I enjoyed so much the dinner, not because the food was good, because you learned about new startups, what people are doing. You learned about new ecosystems that are operating. We want to help people get ahead of the curve. We want to celebrate that. And we also want them to help others, stand on their shoulders to move forward or lift them up, build that ladder. So thank you so much for the opportunity, Alberto, and good to be able to speak to you all today. And let's go forward with this fantastic program.
John, thank you. So we'll definitely meet in London for our award gala dinner. That's where we are planned to be. And thank you for all the work that you guys have been doing. I think the plan to having an ICC center in Ukraine is very, very important. As by the way, is the same as you did in Beirut after the big problem that they have over there. Has been very, very conductive of help, and that we as Mind the Bridge, and I believe also our corporate partners, are definitely able to be involved in supporting such a great initiative. And thank you for what you guys are doing. And so let's kickstart the 2022 Corporate Startup Stars Award edition. And thank you for ICC for their continued support. Thank you, John. Perfect. So I think we can go back to our line of business. Since John Denton were not jacket, I can remove mine. And so going back to the Gattopard book, the historical book. And so let's look at the agenda for today. Again, as we have discussed in terms of who we are and why we are here today. This has been the introduction. We have had John Denton, Secretary General of ICC, for kicking off officially the 2022 Corporate Startup Stars Awards. And now it's time to move to, again, more specifically into the MENA region and the UAE. And then that's what we will do I will have with me Natalia Sycheva for the announcing report that we will present and launch officially in Dubai, the Dubai Chambers Towers on Monday. And afterwards, we will have the pleasure to have with us Tommaso Rodriguez, that is CEO of Talabat, for an exclusive fireside chat between the two of us. And afterward, we will call in our corporate partners that will present what are the challenges they are currently looking at, and specifically looking for solution and startups. And then at the end, as mentioned, we will announce the new ecosystem platform that will have a dedicated event on March the 30th. But to start in order, let me welcome Natalia Sycheva. Natalia is Senior Manager, Special President of Entrepreneurship at the Dubai Chamber. Hi, Natalia.
Very good afternoon and very good morning to all the participants. And it's absolute, on behalf of the Dubai Chamber, it's absolute pleasure to partner on this important initiative of producing the first ever UAE Venture Outlook 2022 in partnership with Mind the Bridge. And definitely it's an honor to go right after John, with who we have had the pleasure to work in the line of business of Chambers of Commerce. And thank you very much for having us today.
No, Natalia, thank you and the Dubai Chambers for digitally hosting this summit, as you co-host last year, by the way. And so for us, it's becoming a sort of a habit to have the Dubai Chambers supporting our landing in the region. And by the way, I think the big news for today is that on Monday next week in Dubai, we will present the report that the Dubai Chambers, as mentioned, has produced with the support of Mind the Bridge, and then she's supposed to provide some highlights on the region. But before that, I'd like to ask you to introduce a bit Dubai Chambers. That is our physical and digital host. And so I think it might be important also to leverage your knowledge, explaining what is Dubai Chambers for the audience that might not know it, and specifically give us a glimpse of what is happening in UAE, in Dubai, that actually is really, really fastly growing.
Certainly, Alberto. Well, because we built up the expectation with you of the audience about the UAE Outlook report, Venture Outlook report, and yet we cannot share much of the details before the official launch next
Yes,
Monday.
our mouth are sealed, but
Dubai Chamber at the physical event, which I think all of us, myself, you, and the audience are very excited to be back to the physical events as we are steadily and progressively moving away from the pandemic restrictions imposed to us by the pandemic. So we need to shed the light on some of the potentially myths, some misperceptions about Dubai, about the UAE, and what it has to offer to entrepreneurs, founders, SMEs. So, and certainly we'll start with Dubai Chamber of Commerce, which is a government organization. And as Dubai Chamber, our main mission is to promote, advocate, and support the private sector of Dubai. And interestingly enough, we started our journey of working with entrepreneurs, with technology innovators back in 2017, when we noticed the customers, the clients of Dubai Chamber are changing. Because if we used to talk about traditional SMEs, big conglomerations, large corporations, but there was a new kind of private sector rapidly evolving since for the past, let's say, 7 years, specifically in the Middle East. And this cluster or the segment is the technology entrepreneurs, whose needs and demands are very different from traditional enterprises, chambers around the world used to deal with. So I know we've put a presentation on the screen, and yet if we could possibly play a video about Dubai Chamber and what Dubai Chamber does for entrepreneurs and founders, if technically this would be possible.
Yes, it's coming.
Awesome, fantastic. All right. So
Great.
That was a quick sneak peek and a little bit of even like a flashback to some of the previous years, what Dubai Chamber has been doing will serving the technology entrepreneurs. And as I mentioned, we started our journey of working with startups in 2017 with the introduction of a number of programs and services specifically catered to the need of technology entrepreneurs, many of who probably right now are watching us. And if we think about the challenges that entrepreneurs are facing, it's a fear of failure, it's a fear of getting that market access in the region, in the country that you are not familiar with, but you're very excited to explore. It's a fear of not finding the right talent for your company, fear of securing the funding to scale, to support the scaling across the borders. And of course, the big realm of regulatory uncertainties. Would my business model that works in Europe, for instance, work in the Middle East for me? So this is the whole realm of challenges or the fears any entrepreneur would encounter at any stage of their idea development and company growth. And this is where Dubai Chamber came into place. And we said, we would every single year, we will identify the most acute challenges that haven't been addressed by the ecosystem, by incubators, accelerators, investment funds, and we will step in and we'll support the ecosystem, we'll support the founders in their journey in Dubai. And with this promise, we came to the market with this proposition of Dubai Startup Hub. And since then, we served more than 12,000 entrepreneurs and founders from all around the world. And what's interesting, if we go to the next slide, we'll actually see that more than 50% of participants in our programs are coming from the overseas. They're coming to Dubai to explore the market, to use Dubai as the gateway to the wider MENA region. And here, it's interesting, when people from outside are thinking about Dubai, the UAE, for some, at a great surprise comes the fact that it is SMEs, small and medium enterprises, that contribute 95% of the GDP of the Emirate of Dubai. 95%. And these SME provide up to 50% of jobs and employment in the Emirate. So if you think about it's oil, it's big corporation, this is the SMEs. And the SMEs comes in different colors, shapes and forms. We're talking about high tech, those technology startups, SMEs, and as well as the traditional SMEs, many of who are in their need for digital transformation, what John pointed earlier before. And this is where we as Dubai Chamber, we are finding these opportunities to bring together the power of both the technology SMEs, the solution providers, and the traditional SMEs who are looking for the ways to optimize, to grow their businesses utilizing the new modern technologies, and we are bringing them together through a suite of different services and programs. Another common myth or misperception that some of the founders from overseas are thinking, if I come to Dubai, where would I find co-founder? Is it easy? Because when I go to a school, to university, I have my buddies somewhere in Boston or Paris. What about when I come to Dubai, where I'll find it? And this is where Dubai has a unique network of hubs, events, platforms for individuals interested with entrepreneurship and those who are a little bit more advanced in developing their ideas to meet and build the thriving partnerships. To name a few, as Dubai Chamber, one of the first programs that we introduced back in 2017 was the networking series. And we have been running this networking series for a number of months. And then we asked the audience what you are looking for when you are coming to these sessions. And the number one, the 2/3 of the audiences responded, we're looking for the co-founders. And this is where we knew there is a greater role for us to play in building these thriving partnerships. And our natural progression of our programs has been to introduce the Co-Founder Dubai program, where we support locally based and overseas based companies coming to Dubai of finding the right leadership talent to help them grow and scale their business across the borders. Also, a common question that founders are having when they are looking at Dubai, I'm coming to Dubai. I know it would be fairly easy for me to set up the business and start running from here, but is it market big enough for me? Well, let's put the perspective. Dubai is 3+ million people. The UAE is about 10 million people. But Dubai in the UAE is that platform for the businesses to demonstrate their services, their service propositions, and expand to the wider region. Interestingly enough, this morning we with colleagues and from Dubai Chamber, we were at the busy Global Business Forum Latin America, and you would come to this platform at Expo 2020, and you will see that obviously there is a whole realm of Latin American businesses and government representatives there, but even more representatives of the MENA region companies who are looking to expand, to bring their business to Latin America, and they're using these facilities created by Dubai Chamber, by our partners in Dubai, to grow overseas. So to answer the question, when you think about Dubai, you think about scaling to Dubai, but you instantly think, I'm coming to Dubai and I'm scaling from here. I'm using this platform as a launchpad for the wider region. And then last but not least, probably important aspect to address is especially it's common question that's coming from female entrepreneurs. Is it easy? Is it possible for me to be an entrepreneur as a female in the Middle East, building my company from Dubai? Well, in our experience of Dubai Chamber, and we have been running a number of programs catered for both inclusively for all genders, for all nationalities, we could say that today, if you look at S&P 500 index, there is only 6% of companies in this within the global list of companies that are headed by females, that are led by females. If we look at the statistics of the female founders who are making the stride with raising the funds, growing the businesses, scaling the businesses in the Middle East, even on the example of our Dubai Chamber programs, depending on the maturity of a startup, we are talking somewhere in between 8 to 50%. So 55% of females is the proportion in the early stage startups. When we look at the early stage pool of companies, as the company mature, and if we do this analysis, the number is diminishing, but still on the grander scheme, we could say that an entrepreneurship path, a technology entrepreneurship path, does provide a great opportunities for ambitious female to excel, to have a successful business story, if this is the aspiration of hers. And if we I've already addressed a few. Misconceptions, or question marks that some of the founders might have when they think about Dubai and the UAE, and to put something more numbers in terms of where the UAE is standing around among the countries around the world. Definitely, we have making a steady continuous growth when it comes to becoming the leading country when it's come to ease of doing business, infrastructure, competitiveness, both in the MENA region and internationally. And when it comes to Dubai, interestingly enough, several years ago, Financial Times has done a study where they were studying the nature of these interesting people, aka technology founders. And the purpose of the study was to identify what does drive a technology entrepreneur to move his location when he or she is thinking, we're going to move overseas to another market. What is that factor? What's driving them? And the answer was the ease of living, the quality of life. So which in the nutshell would tells us that technology founders, technology entrepreneurs, they are, in this sense, they're just anybody else, like me, like Alberto. We're looking for the quality of life when we're thinking where we are likely to move. And this is where Dubai, year over year, was named one of the best cities in the world for expats, and the best city for expats in MENA region. COVID-19 and pandemic that followed definitely tested the market, Dubai, the UAE, and every other market in terms of the resilience. And the Dubai measures that were put in place allowed us to say that Dubai was one of the top cities when it comes to the COVID-19 resilience. And in year 2020, when the economies have been shrinking and finding itself under this employment and jobs crunch in Dubai, people were finding the jobs, businesses started opening up, and Dubai was named the 5th city in the world to find a job in year 2020. And we can carry on. But again, when we speak about, and if we go to the next slide, these all aspects, there is fundamental macroeconomic fundamentals that we can speak of. We can speak about psychological elements, psychological motivation, that's particular specific for technology entrepreneurs and founders. We can talk about the government measures that are put in place to support entrepreneurship and promote Dubai, be it Dubai Chamber of Commerce or many other agencies on the city level or on the federal level. But what's important is there is a number of very important trends that we have identified through our work with Alberto, with you, in our research about what's driving the UAE technology ecosystem. What are these main factors? And first and foremost, Dubai and the UAE ecosystem does have established itself as the test bed for solution for scale-up companies. And this is where we've seen this transfer of the companies who were initiated in various countries in MENA region or even overseas, of relocating their headquarters, their staff, their teams to Dubai. And 43% of all MENA scale-ups today calling the UAE their home. Why they're relocating their homes and headquarters to Dubai, to the UAE? Lifestyle, probably. It wasn't part of our study with Alberto, but we were looking at the funding opportunities and the liquidity that's provided to the startups. And we've seen that 63% of scale-ups actually who raised capital were supported by the corporates. And this is where we as Dubai Chamber, in year 2017, we launched a program that will help corporates and startups to work on the pilot projects. And that was the main proposition of the program. But slowly and gradually, the aptitude and appetite of the corporates have been changing. There was more and more inquiries saying, okay, we can do the pilot, we can do the test project, but there is a way for us to do the joint venture? We are not investors, we're just corporate in our vertical, in our sector, but can we put the capital, can we have the stake in that company? So, and this is what something that we noticed, we started seeing in 2018, 2019, and Alberto, I believe that our figures just prove that trend. We can testify that that's a very interesting trend. And I don't think, Alberto, I don't know, maybe you could add that we top the trend. I think there is still room for us to grow in that respect in terms of the corporate participation in startup funding. What do you think?
No, I believe that one of the aspect that looking at the Dubai data is definitely striking out is the speed of growth of the ecosystem, and has been grown not just as a local ecosystem, but an international lending platform. That's I think is the main characteristic of the Dubai. And I believe that that's probably one of the suggestions we'll make on Monday, discussing about how to boost it even more, how to move to the next level. There are typically two main school of thoughts for scaling up an ecosystem. The first one is to seed. If you seed, at the end something will come out. On the other hand is to focus and support the most fast-growing local companies, because that's this kind of companies might grow larger and become tech champions and drive the growth of the ecosystem. I believe that this kind of approach is the one that might be definitely perfectly fitting with the Dubai positioning, and I believe that might provide the Dubai and the UAE ecosystem even a further boost to becoming one of the driving global ecosystem in the world. That is, again, I believe, is the path that you are in. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing all the interesting insights and data that we put together. There will be the opportunity not to join the physical presentation, but definitely to join the report. Again, if you just scan this QR code, you can get access to the report as published. And so you can take a look at all the interesting data points that we put together. And Natalia, again, thank you to you and the Dubai Chambers for hosting this summit and for allowing us to dig even deeper into the region and the UAE. So see you on Monday in person. And by now, I think I will leave the floor to Tommaso Rodriguez. Tommaso is the CEO of Talabat. That's one of the most fast-growing company in the region. So I think it's an interesting scale-up story to be shared with. So today we have the pleasure to have with us Tommaso Rodriguez. Tommaso is the CEO of Talabat. Talabat is part of Delivery Hero Group, and technically speaking, is one of the unicorn, even more than a unicorn of the region, despite the fact that being part of a larger group probably doesn't allow to qualify it like that. But for sure is a gigantic success story in terms of startup scaling into unicorn, larger tech companies of the region. So I have the pleasure to have with me today, Tommaso.
Ciao, Alberto. How are you?
So far, so good. It's a pleasure to have with you today. And I think there are a lot of interesting topics to be discussed about the history of Talabat. But before entering the history of Talabat, I'd like to just quickly recap your personal history. I think if you are on board as a CEO of Talabat since just 2-3 years, and so it would be interesting to know what you've done before that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm extremely excited to be here as well. Thank you very much for inviting. So yeah, probably just start by quickly introducing myself. As you said, I'm running Talabat since September 2019, so it's around 2.5 years now. And before that, and this was my first experience in the Middle East, actually. Before that, I was in Singapore, and I was running, actually created and run the food delivery business of Grab. As probably many people know, Grab is kind of the super app of Southeast Asia. They have 3 main lines: food delivery, ride sharing, and financial services. And I was the CEO of the food delivery business and launched and scaled across 250 cities in Southeast Asia. And prior to that, I was at Uber. I've been with Uber for 5-6 years, across ride sharing first as general manager in Italy and Greece. And after that, I launched and was the head of regional operations for Uber Eats for the Asian region. Across like India, Southeast Asia, North Asia, Australia, and New Zealand.
And how do you cross path with Talabat of the Middle East? Because from Singapore to the Middle East is quite a big jump.
Well, it is. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this was because I thought, Talabat is a fantastic company, has an amazing heritage, as we're going to discuss later. But also was the first time for me to operate in this region. And I have to say, it's. I think this is the moment of Middle East, right? I think that the startup ecosystem and the scale-up ecosystem is really booming, and a lot of very great things are coming out of this region. So I think it's kind of becoming the place to be, and if you're into tech, if you're into startups, and I'm really excited for the next 10 years of this region.
Again, this is a perfect headline for our Scaleup Summit in the region. So to say that the Middle East is booming for startups. But let's talk about Talabat. I think it probably is the poster children of the region thus far. Hopefully more Talabat will come. Founded in 2004 in Kuwait, if I'm not wrong. Can you wrap it up, the scale-up history of Talabat?
Yeah, so Talabat was born by two Kuwaiti nationals in 2004 as a platform to connect restaurants and customers. And if you think about it, 2004, it was quite a long time ago in tech terms, right? And it was just a web.
Yes, it's a geological age ago. Yes, probably. Yes.
Exactly. So it's just kind of a portal to connect restaurants and customers, right? And then after a few years, Talabat started expanding in other markets like Saudi, like UAE, like Bahrain, Qatar, and received quite some funding until it was acquired in 2015 by Delivery Hero, right? So Delivery Hero still owns 100% of Talabat. Delivery Hero is a publicly listed company in Germany. And Talabat now operates in 9 countries across Middle East and North Africa. And these will be all the GCC countries, plus Jordan, Egypt, and Iraq.
Can you give us some figures in terms of Talabat's revenue, headcount, riders? What's the current size of the business?
Yeah, so Talabat has around 4,000 employees today, plus around 100,000 riders across the region, and we're doing several billions in terms of GMV on a yearly basis.
And again, obviously, COVID, the pandemic, boosted the growth of Talabat because again, give us this opportunity, probably allow this market to exploit. But there was already on a pre-existing growing curve, and I believe, based on some prior conversation we have, the specific approach of Delivery Hero actually contributed a lot in this growth partner. Because again, most of the time, one of the big topic, the big elephant in the startup room across the globe, but particularly not in the US, is that typically established companies are not used to acquire startups, and when they buy them, most of the time they freeze them, or it's very, very difficult to integrate because the culture is different. I believe that Delivery Hero, based on what I know and based on what we have discussed in prior occasion we talked, is a very particular model that gives us a lot of freedom and autonomy to the acquired company. I think we'll be probably interested to deep dive this the latest years of growth, and particularly the role of Delivery Hero that had in this process.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Delivery Hero as this acts as a holding, right, in the group, and Delivery Hero owns several food delivery companies across the world, right? So, for example, Foodpanda in Asia or Pedidosia in Latin America, and several others, right? I think what's really amazing is that Delivery Hero has this way of thinking where they spot like companies that of course are doing great, but they have the potential to become much bigger and to scale, when they're pairs with some expertise and with good management and with a good product, etc., etc. And I think that was the case of Talabat, right? So the team did a tremendous job to scale Talabat, but I think Delivery Hero really helped to boost it like to the next level. I just give you one figure. Like in 2017, Talabat celebrated 100 million orders. Like so, in the past 13 years of history, it made 100 million orders. Right now, we do several hundreds of millions of orders every single year. Right, and this happened just in the last 5 years. So kind of really, we hit the hockey stick curve post acquisition, and I think this is one of the key strengths of international player that really wants to act locally, though. Because I think in my previous experiences when I was at Uber and more kind of bigger international companies, right? I think the weakness that the company that acts globally with the same product, with the same mindset, with the same operations across the globe, like will always face local competitors that have a product that is like catered more for the specific region, right? Or operations that are more specific to the region. And most of the times, like that's a winning strategy, right? So I think Delivery Hero is kind of a bit of the best of both worlds, where you have an international holding, but that truly really believes in localizing their product and their operations in every market they're in.
How much know-how comes from Delivery Hero, and how much is the customization, localization piece, the autonomy? Again, this is a huge topic: globalization versus multi-domestic strategy. Again, Michael Porter was writing about that probably in the 80s, in the 90s, and I think this just hearing your words, it's come back a part of MBA to my mind. And again, but it's always been a complicated balance between the desire to have a sort of global approach, one size fits all, when you can also deploy the know-how, the routines, the processes that you have mastered elsewhere, with the need of localization, customization, adaptation to the single markets. And so how does it play? Because again, should be some superpowers coming from Delivery Hero, but also something that is the local recipe that you are able to cook.
No, that's a great question. And the reality is that finding the right balance is hard, and I don't think anyone has the perfect recipe. But I can tell you how it's managed in Talabat and Delivery Hero. So the Talabat app and the Talabat tech is fully developed here in Dubai and managed by us. We have a team, of course, of product and tech engineers, right? But there are some components, and mostly some backend components, that are built globally also by Delivery Hero. And I'll tell you exactly why. So when Delivery Hero started acquiring companies that were doing food delivery, most of these companies were what we call marketplace companies, right? So they were just connecting restaurants to customers, and then they will leave the restaurant to do the delivery themselves, right? What really changed food delivery in the past few years was building that model where you build your own logistics infrastructure and then you deliver for the restaurants. And for the customer, that means a much better experience because you have a more dense fleet, so the delivery is faster. You can track your order on the app and all these kind of things, right? So at that point where we all decided to do the switch into moving into own delivery, for example, Delivery Hero said, okay, instead of every single entity building a dispatch algorithm, right? Why don't we build one centrally as a backend service, and then all the entities can plug into the service and build all the front end piece of it, right? And so there are some of the services, mostly in the rider dispatching and logistics and in some vendor infrastructure that are built globally, but all the front end and the customer logic is built locally.
That's interesting and powerful. And I think probably another input that might come from being part of a larger group with a lot of experience elsewhere is also, you mentioned one strategic move from marketplace to own delivery. I know that you also move to the quick commerce business. How much of these strategic moves are a certain way being I would not say pushed, but in a certain way inspired by being part of a larger group that have already done this process elsewhere? And so might help you probably to make such a move that is, I believe, is quite a radical transformation of the business models in a more confident way. Because again, when you do on your own, there is quite a big bet. Yes, you have seen to be done elsewhere. You say probably you can do the same. but probably having someone in the mothership that have done this elsewhere, they all have know-how, and also the metrics, it can probably be a less, let's say, hazardous move, something that you can do with a bit more confidence. How you can describe something like that?
I think you're really hitting the nail in the head. Like there, it's you know, it requires a lot of guts to take big bets. Like for example, quick commerce, right? So
I can imagine, yes.
Yeah, in the last 2 years, we opened 110 stores across the Middle East. So that's a huge investment in terms of capex, and also a huge investment in terms of like generating the demand, supply, and whatever. So we're talking about of like tens of millions, if not hundreds of investment in this vertical, right? So the good thing about this, I think, Delivery Hero is that most of this innovation happens locally in one entity, because there's maybe a CEO or someone that really strongly believes into something and wants to experiment it, right? And then if that model is proved, like then we export it into all the other entities. For example, quick commerce was not something that came top down, but it was done firstly by our sister company, Yemek Sepeti in Turkey. So that's the first company that tried the quick commerce model because they strongly believed in it. And it was a huge success, right? And so when all of us saw the numbers that were happening in Yemek Sepeti with their quick commerce stores, like we all wanted to jump on it, right? So it's kind of never kind of a top-down thing. It's like we see what's happening in the other entities and we want the same, right? Because we feel it will work very well in our markets. One thing that Talabat is pioneering, for example, for the group is buy now, pay later and fintech services, right? So we were the first entity to launch buy now, pay later, and now we're just in experimentation phases. But it's something I truly believe in for this region, for example, because when you look at our digital payment penetration is not low, it's actually quite high. But 90% of our digital payments happen on debit cards versus credit cards, right? So there's a huge part of our customers that either don't have access to credit or they don't probably trust credit cards or something like that. So I think buy now, pay later is a service that will work very well in this region.
That's very cool. And by the way, going back to my MBA, the model you just described is what Bartlett and Ghoshal was defining as transnational innovation. That was a very, very interesting theory that has never been put into practice efficiently from anybody. So probably you'll be the first one to really be able to put in place as delivery or group approach. And just a question out of sake of curiosity is how frequently you meet your CEO colleagues of other companies? How there is the internal coordination inside the delivery or group?
So we have informal catch-ups, and we're all into the same, say, messaging platforms or stuff like that. So whenever we need to, quickly ask, we can reach out to each other. I have several, catch-ups with the other CEOs across the year, but these are kind of more on informal basis, and then globally we have 2 times a year we have kind of summit where we hold the CEOs and the Delivery Hero management together with Niklas, our group CEO. Will meet and discuss priorities, discuss what's going on in the markets, etc. Right? So we have both informal and formal kind of mechanisms.
Cool, interesting. So moving from Talabat to the rest of the region, how integrated is the MENA, the Arab region? Again, there are 19 countries ranging from Northern Africa up to the Gulf region. How do you see them as a single market, or the local differences are so big that you need to address one after the other? Because again, one of the big topic of discussion of the issues of startup to scale up is the fact that do not have most of the time a big market. The US company typically do have, European they do not. Yes, theoretically there is the European Union, but practically there are a number of countries with different rules, different regulation, and different culture and habits. So how do you see the MENA region, the Arab region? Is closer to Europe or closer to the US or in between? How do you address as a single market, several separate markets? How is it difficult to scale from Kuwait to Saudi to Bahrain to UAE?
That's a fantastic question, actually. So I think it's something in between US and Europe for a few reasons, right? So one big advantage of the region, I would say, is language, right? So there's only one language, right, which is Arabic, and across Egypt, the Gulf countries, etc. Like you have the same language, right? The only exception for us is Iraq, but all the other countries we're in, our app is English and Arabic, right? So this simplifies a lot versus, for example, Europe, right?
Yes.
I would say there are in the MENA region, when you look at Gulf countries, more kind of versus North Africa, I think there are three main groups, right? One would be the Gulf countries, right? The 6 GCC countries. Then you have some other countries in the Middle Eastern region, like, for example, Jordan. And then you have North Africa, which for us is mainly Egypt, right? GCC countries have more or less same regulations or very similar regulations. For what regards, for example, us or ride-sharing companies like Uber, there's no ride-sharing, right? There's no freelance work, right? So kind of all the riders, all the drivers have to be employed, right? And this is a big difference, right? But the regulations are very similar in all the markets, right? Well, for example, in Egypt, freelance work is approved, right? So you could have freelance riders, right? So I think it's a bit of a mix. The language helps a lot, but you have to make sure that there are some specificities of each market and sensitivities that you need to take care of, right? Also, in terms of purchase power, there's big difference, for example, from I don't know, GCC countries to the average Egyptian customer, right? Of course, and what the offer could be attractive here could not be attractive in Egypt or vice versa. When it comes to a company like us, food delivery, of course, every single country has completely different food tastes, right? And of course you have to cater your offering for that. But in general, to answer your question, bottom line would be not as easy as US, not as hard as Europe, right?
Okay, something in between. Again, the in between sometimes is still good. So next week we will present the Dubai Chambers full resource we co-produced together with Crunchbird, trying to deep dive into the tech scene of the Arab region. And so we are also identify what are the most emerging hotspots in terms of innovation. Beyond the quantitative numbers that we are putting together, I'd like to get your qualitative opinion. What are the countries and the cities that you see are the reference for the tech scene in the region?
Yeah, so I think Dubai has been growing a lot in terms of tech. There's a lot of great programs that His Highness is putting in place to attract tech talent, and we're, as Talabat, also we are participating, and we are partnering with the government to attract more engineers, more tech talent. So this 1 million coder program, right, which is I think very aspirational, but as every time like Dubai wants to do something, they achieve it. So I'm pretty confident that this will happen as well. But a lot is moving also in the other countries, right? And whenever we go to visit countries and then talk with government officials, like they all want to create a richer tech scene, right? We're seeing it probably also. Egypt is pushing very hard on that front. Actually, Talabat has 2 tech hubs. One is in Dubai, and the other one is in Cairo. But definitely, I think we're going to see the tech scene growing in the region quite a lot.
That's perfect. And by the way, it's quite in line with our quantitative analysis. That is good to know. And so, Tommaso, thanks a lot for sharing your insights. All the best for your continuing scaling up process into unicorns and beyond for Talabat. And definitely thank you for contributing to our Scaleup Summit and Let's Touch Base. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Alberto, for having me, and thank you, Mind the Bridge.
Perfect. Great conversation. I think very, very insightful also to show up a really true scale-up story. But now let me call in my colleague and partner, Marwan Abdullawi. He's our head of operation scouting for the MENA region. Hi, Marwan. Welcome on the show, and I will leave it to you the management of our corporate partners. I think we have 8 of them in line, and they will be asked to introduce their own challenges. So again, we are strict timing to be respected. You are the perfect person to make this happen in the supposed deadline. So thank you, Marwan.
Thank you.
The floor to you.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you very much. So to everyone, happy to be here. I'm delighted today to show and introduce some corporate partners. It was great to actually hear more about the MENA ecosystem and to hear about this scale-up story, success story with Talabat. Always good to have those success stories to encourage the startup ecosystem, right? So as Alberto mentioned earlier, we support our corporate partners in their open innovation journey, from structuring their open innovation activities, providing insight on emerging markets, but also actually scouting for startups and solutions that can fit the needs of our corporate partners. So I'm glad here today to welcome and introduce our corporate partners involved in the MENA Summit today. So without further ado, let's give the word to them. And I would like to invite on stage our friend from Unipol, a leading insurance company, Bruno Scarrap. Bruno, welcome.
Hi to everybody. Yeah.
Hi.
How are you? Fine?
Great.
Thanks for having us. Okay. So we can start to show about Unipol. So next slide. Unipol Group in Italy is one of the largest insurer, and in particular one of a leader in non-life insurance. As you can see in this slide, there are a couple of numbers, and I think the main point to highlight is that we have about 8,000 points of sale across Italy, so it's very huge in terms of network. And on the right side of the slide, we started a new strategy, so to create services, what we call beyond insurance subsidiaries. And in particular also is important to highlight that we have a big stakes also in the 4th largest Italian bank, that is BPER. And so if we can move in the next slide, our approach to innovation was mainly to concentrate in 3 ecosystems, that is home and properties, mobility and health. And the first one where we started, and that is now a very important ecosystem created, is mobility, as is highlighted in the next slide. So in terms of mobility, and in terms of innovation, we started to launch in our retail network, and I think we are the first insurer in Italy, the long-term rental services, because we bought a company specialized on that, and we start to sell that to the retail customer through our trade agency, and this innovation is going very well. Another innovation was to buy a startup that is cambio marcia, so to create a used car platform. We are in launching now this platform this month, and also we are working and we launched recently the electronic toll service. So we are the first company to compete with the monopoly of Telepass, and we launched Unipol Move. And other important area of development in terms of innovation is also we create a company for mobility payments, and we continue to improve the road assistance using tow truck of Unipol Assistance that we bought using the asset of Unipol Rental. So in terms of this ecosystem, we create a huge number of assets. I think there is also some potential if we find startups that can give us other type of digital services that we can use inside of this ecosystem. The next slide represents where we are in terms of welfare ecosystem. Of course, this ecosystem we started late comparing to the mobility ecosystem, and but there are three main areas where we are focusing, and I think in the next couple of months we will have something concrete soon, because we are working very hard on that. Is the physical network and digital platform and the flexible benefit. So are three areas where we are now investing, and because we want to improve the physical network with the creation of one of the largest medical center laboratories in Italy, and also we want also to have the digital part of this, that is a digital health platform where we are working with this with some startups, and we hope to finalize soon some acquisition. And the last part is the flexible benefit platform. Again, also in this area we are working hard, and we hope next meeting to have some news for you. The last ecosystem is next slide, sorry. So property, again, like the welfare ecosystem, here we created a new company that is Unipol Home, that is a holding company where we want to put in, where we want to develop a home repair network and also a building manager network. So again, also in this area we are working with some potential partner that we want to acquire to develop this area, and I hope soon to have some news on that. And also we are selling utilities services using our tidy agency network. And this in terms of ecosystem. If we go to the last slide, that is the next, just to give you an idea how we work in terms of innovation. So of course we use a lot of MindBridge in terms of networking. Then we have inside also some competence center in terms of what is advanced analytic and big data, intelligent, and all of these things is mixed together in a way to use new methodologies to get much faster some concrete new business within the group, and is, as I imagine for the other corporate partner, is always difficult, because of course you are in a big group with a big number of policies, but with this approach we are working in a way that we can achieve a good result in terms of innovation and in terms of getting new business down on the table. So my presentation is finished. So
thank you, Bruno. So for the next corporates, please, if you can respect the 5-minute slot, that would be great. We're running a bit late. So from a leading insurance company to another leading company, but in the energy sector, let's move to Enel and Aaron Levy. hope I pronounced it well. Hi, Aaron. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you. I'm good. Nice
Welcome.
to be here.
Yeah,
thank you very
please,
much.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I also have 5 minutes, so I will not talk about our approach and activity and global coverage, although it's very interesting. However, I will focus on our technological priorities and challenges. Everything that you see in this slide basically are challenges that derive from the historic transition of the energy industry. This is a very big thorough transition from the fossil fuel to alternative energies, renewable energies mainly, and Enel is a leader in renewable energies. Around half of our power production comes from renewable sources. And one component in this transition is the digital transformation that affects almost every layer in our activity. And the basic idea behind this digital transformation in a utility company or energy company is basically make all our dam pipes or dam infrastructure to be smart infrastructure. And once this infrastructure gets smart by integrated high-tech in this and digital technologies in this, you start to create data. And once you start to create data in something that working without any data for decades, you start to understand, you start understanding many things, which allows you to be better, to improve your services, to get to get for the first time visibility of everything that is happening in your system, and to be able to provide much more. So what you see here in the slide is pretty much affected by this digital transformation. And the other group is the things that are basic to the new era of electricity. So, for example, energy storage, which is a critical thing to make the renewable energies 100% leading the market or really usable, because we can use the sun as long as the sun is shining, but at night we need the storage in order to use the electricity that we accumulated from the sun during the day. So energy storage is something that is very critical for any energy company, and of course we have a very big focus on that, as well as renewable technologies. It can be solar, wind, thermodynamic, nuclear, and any other low emission energy source. Smart grid, this is exactly what I started with. Smart grid is basically the infrastructure, the smart infrastructure of the power grids. So we can build it smart from scratch on the new infrastructure that we build, but there is a very big legacy systems and infrastructures that are out there for the last dozens of years that we want also to make usable. So we need to make it smart by again integrating digital technologies in the existing infrastructure and make it part of our smart grid. Electric mobility is a booming business, and of course we as an energy player have a very important part in this industry since we electrify these vehicles. So we provide charging infrastructure to charge electric mobility. We also involved with smart cities as a company that has almost 4,000 municipalities around the world, and one of the largest bill of municipality is the power bill. Of course, we also have we have a lot of potential in reducing costs for the municipality, improving the energy efficiency and all that all this. Same for smart home and smart industries, since we are a large vendor of both. Predictive maintenance is a very important technology that aim to diagnose by several means, AI and others, the power production systems, and give you an alert in advance if something is going to be wrong. Just to avoid downtimes and stuff like that. And automation, of course, we aim to automate everything, every process, in every layer and every level in our power production and power distribution. This would do good for the world in many parameters, and this is also something that we have a big focus on. Financial services is a new business unit for us. It's under NLX. Since we got a license from the Italian Central Bank to serve or to provide digital banking services, we also got in this business, and a few months ago we launched our new fintech lab in Israel together with MasterCard in order to address challenges in this space. That's it.
All right, thank you very much, Aaron. So let's move to another company involved in the energy sector and multi-utility company with Acea and Andrea Frattini. Andrea, welcome.
Hi, Moran. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So here we are. I am Andrea Frattini. I work in the innovation team of Acea. Please, next slide. So this is who we are. We are a leading multi-utility in the Italian market. Of course, we want to invest in innovation and in digitalization of our company, but also we have a strong focus on sustainability. So the next years for us will be very important in order to meet those strong requirements that we have. We want to invest more than 600 million in innovation in our industrial plan, but also we want to make a difference in sustainability and in all the circular economy path. Next slide, please. This is us. We are a very integrated multi-utility with so many businesses. We are #1 operator in the water sector, so we serve more than 9 million inhabitants. We also have a strong part of energy infrastructure, mainly related to the center of Italy, but also we are strongly related to the environment. In fact, we have also a part of waste management and all the waste to energy transition. Also, we have a company dedicated to engineering and services for the analysis of the drinking water, but also for all the analysis and chemical related to our water plants. And of course, we have all a commercial related to the client and trading part for selling of energy. Next slide, please. This is our presence in Italy. We are strongly in the center of Italy, but also many parts in the north and south of Italy. Next, please. And I want only to go fast to our approach to innovation. We are doing a path that is bringing us to a distributed innovation and strongly related to openness and pragmatism. We have started with the vertical innovation. There was innovation in Acea, but it was strongly related to our industrial areas. Now we are moving a path to a distributed innovation model that is shared between industrial areas, that is open towards external ecosystem, and that aspires to creation of new business models, new products, and new services. Next slide, please. These are our obtained results, our numbers. We have a circular model that starts with the scouting and mapping. We have mapped more than 200 internal projects strongly related to innovation, but also we have mapped external more than 1,000 of innovative startups in the ecosystem. And we have partnerships that are national but also international, as the one with Mind the Bridge. So we are not focused now on the national ecosystem, but also in the international ecosystem. We want to collaborate more and more with startup or scale-ups related for international ecosystem outside Italy. We also have a stronger focus on internal organization. We organize the event, workshop, entrepreneurship program. And of course, we collect ideas as startups in order to do POC. We have more than 50 POC done in these 4 years. And many of that almost then have a path of adoption, industrialization. And so we want to leverage this percentage of adoption in our organization in order to have more and more projects that are strictly related to innovation and new products. Next slide, please. I'm going very fast. We, of course, start for our POC or project to the business need of our colleagues. Our model is called innovation as a service because we experiment only if our colleagues are interested in some business need or innovation need. We have so many needs that are divided into our business areas. Of course, for the water sector, we want to develop a smart water company for sustainable usage of water and want to improve our service quality and our efficiency. So we want to find all innovative solutions strictly related to leaks reduction or the preservation of water. We are also interested in all innovative processes of water analysis. For our energy part, we are strongly boosting our energy transition and with our decarbonization plan. We are searching all solutions strongly related to driving electrification, to smart grid, new services, but also to our vehicle to grid part, and also smart charging part strictly related to electricity and mobility. But also we want to find all the solutions that can augment our resilience of the network, because the network is our main asset in the water, in the energy part. And also we have a part related to production of new energies, green energies, renewable production, also green hydrogen as well. We have launched an accelerator strictly related to hydrogen. We have all the commercial part related with the customer experience and the user experience, so we'll improve our customer journey. We want to develop our digital channels, and we want to produce new smart services in order to have produce value-added services that can be had to our energy and our water business areas. And as well, we are the environmental part. We want to boost our path to circular economy. We are searching all the solutions that are strongly related to waste to energy transition in order to boost our circular economy path, but also all the processes and the solution that can increment all the performance related to waste treatment. So all the processes that can optimize this phase. And I think that I have stated in time, so that's all for our chair. And we want to meet you, to meet all startup and scale-ups in order to build something.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I think also regarding your international exposure, you open also an innovation antenna in the Silicon Valley with us that can definitely help you to get this international exposure. Well, thank you again, Andrea. Let's now move to Annie with an old but young friend, Silvia Fierro. Hi, Silvia. Very nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Thank you. And I would be as fast as possible, as I know that we are running out of time. So I'm really pleased actually today to introduce ENI and what we do as an open innovation unit. So on the next slide, actually can give you an overview in a nutshell of what we do and how we operate. ENI is an energy company, of course, covering, as you can see, all the value chain, from the exploration all the way through logistic and production of chemicals. We operate in 68 countries with more than 30,000 employees. On the next slide shows actually how we have been recently structured and restructured. Two main units have been created. The natural resources aimed at develop the upstream oil and gas portfolio sustainability, promoting energy efficiency and carbon capture. And on the other hand, the energy evolution dedicated to supporting the evolution of the company's power generator, fostering the transition from fossil to bio, blue, and green. The unit which we belong to and that operates as a support to the other two is the new Digital and R&D, where sit all the innovation and the development of new technologies and their fast implementation on an industrial scale. My colleagues and I, we belong to new unit that both understands and translates the needs from the business unit, and also look and scout for solutions to be implemented or suggested internally. Linked to ENI's strategic goals, we follow on the next slide 4 objectives when looking for new solutions. Of course, excel in asset integrity. Then we look for boost our company efficiency. Then we try to enable decarbonization with using these new technologies, and we enhance stakeholder centricity. So with the help of our network and of our partners, of course, we scout in multiple geographies, as we are very active all around the world, following the technical areas reported here, for mainly scale-ups that are ready to be plugged in and deployed in our environments. The next slides clarifies what guides our innovation quest for this year, our topics, our interests. We have identified 5 areas where we think solutions that are scouted from the innovative ecosystems might help us. So first, of course, is the safety of our employees and processes. Second one is asset integrity and performance enhancement in our plants, mainly. The third one is the new energy that here what we're looking for are new tools mainly that can enhance the transition to a sustainable future. The fourth one is sustainability of our production. And fifth one, but not the less important one, is related to the customer centricity, mainly linked to our retail stations. So this is how, on the next slide, actually, I think that we highlighted the focus for this first summit. So the focus for these regions, so the MENA region. So we will focus, and the startup that we will meet are actually in these areas, on the asset integrity one. And on the next slide, we summarized how we work. So this is our funnel, and where we are at the moment is actually at the first one, so the matching, so where we meet with startups and with innovative ideas. As an open innovation unit, we handle all the conversation within the digital team, so within our team, and all the way through the implementation of the first pilot of POC. We tend to keep it as short as possible in order to be able to scale it fast and to be implemented on a very larger scale within ENI as a company. So that was very fast. Of course, I will meet you all during the one-to-ones, and if you have any question, we are very here to help you. So thanks.
Thank you, Silvia. Thank you for being fast here. Let's now move away from the energy sector and let's move to the mobility sector with Iveco. So I want to invite to the stage Jaime Sanchez Gallego. Hi,
hello.
Jaime.
Hello, Madonna. Nice to see you again too.
Great, the floor is yours now.
I don't know if I'm gonna be so fast as Silvia, but we'll try. We know that we are running out of time. So today we're gonna give you a broad presentation of Iveco Group. So as you know, we came from a big group that was CNH Industrial, and now we are independent. We are Iveco Group. So please go to the next slide. Iveco Group now is focused on what we call in the past the on-road businesses. So we produce vehicles and powertrain and services associated to this. So we're producing buses, we're producing trucks, we're producing engines, we're producing driveline technologies, and we're present in almost 160 countries, over 30,000 employees, and 31 R&D centers and 29 plants around the world. So please, let's go. Those are our main numbers. We can go through them really fast. As you can see, we have consolidated revenues over $12 billion, a good available liquidity, and more important are the markets where we operate. We're in Europe, mainly in Europe. We're also really strong in South America and parts of Asia, and we also have some activities in North America. So let's keep going. And those are the product ranges that we produce in Iveco. So we have Iveco brand, where I belong, and we produce mainly trucks or commercial vehicles, so light, medium, and heavy. We also have powertrain, where we produce engines, but not only engines, we produce in general driveline technologies, and then we are going towards the future of mobility also. We have buses with Iveco Bus and Ulie. We have specialty vehicles, so firefighting, defense, mining, and so on. And we also have financial services. On top of this, we also have services associated to our products. So we do not only focus on selling trucks, we focus on selling a full service to the customer, product service together. So let's keep going, please. Which are our foundations and why it's important in the scouting tasks in our company? We have 5 main pillars that are leading us in this new adventure of being an independent group. We want to position the product range in a really good way. We want to increase the market share. For this, we need, and we are doing it, best-in-class operational performance. We're focusing, of course, in the alternative powertrains, as zero-emission objectives are key for mobility companies and transportation companies, so our customers. We are dealing with new collaborations and partnerships that we'll show you later as a main pillar of this strategy and taking the momentum that we have. And we are not focusing, as I said before, only in products. We want to sell life cycle services. So using these 5 pillars, we create our strategy for scouting and our strategy for connecting with partners and startups. So please keep going. So how we define us in the future and now? We are agile and entrepreneurial. We have experience in the past with Van the Bridge, really good experience indeed. We are contacting startups and providing or generating open innovation opportunities during the full year. We are an early mover, and a good example of this are some of the partnerships that we're going to see later. And we just want to be positioned not on new opportunities of today, but on the new opportunities of tomorrow, focusing on energy and infrastructure, automation, and smart connectivity, among others. Okay, so we could keep going, please. And this is the road. We want to align the 5 pillars I mentioned before with our partners towards the innovation success of the company. So we can keep going. Well, as you can see, just to define a little bit what we do, here we have the market share, and you can have an idea on the complexity of products that we do have. Okay, so just to make you an idea that our strategy for open innovation is not focused on one product or services, but open to everything. So please keep going. And this is one of the most interesting slides that we can see today, that are the partnerships that we are having, that we are supporting today. We have Plus AI, for example, in automotive, in autonomous vehicles. We are Nikola. We are special partnership with Amazon, and also in the business services and new businesses, we have really interesting partnerships with finance and banking companies. So please keep going.
I guess that's about it.
Exactly. I don't see the slide. I see this, and this is what we wanted to show you today: the complexity of our business, the broad range of products and services that we offer and we need to offer in the future, and the approach in partnering and innovating from Iveco Group. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Jaime. Thank you for being on time. All right, so now let's move to a different company, Pelliconi, a leading food and beverage company with who actually we just opened another innovation antenna in the Silicon Valley. And I want to invite to the floor Matteo Mingardi. Hi, Matteo, how are you doing?
Hi, very well, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please, the floor is yours.
So good morning good morning to everyone. Yes, so just a couple of words about Pelliconi. So our past and our future is based on two main words, as the words of our CEO, and our strategy is based on sustainability and innovation. So please, the next slide. Yes, who we are, because we are not well known. We are an Italian company. We are in the beverage sector, and we produce closures and equipment regarding closures. So you can see here some of our customers. We are the leader in our sectors, and we produce around 33 billion closures per year. So it means that just for your understanding, 4 beers out of 10 in the world has our closure. So. And the presence, so we are small because compared to the other company, also the turnover is not so big, but we cover more than 150 states in the world with our plant, because we are very close to our customers. Please, next. Yes, this is our vision, and we have write down our intention. So our strategy is based on innovation and innovation decline in three main assets that are services, products, and processes. So it means that our development regards not only products, but as I said, services and processes. And 90% of the time, what we do generates absolutely new business models. Sorry, I'm Matteo Mingardi. I'm the director of the Innovation and Research Department. Please, next. Yes, just a couple of words of our structures. So we, as I said, Pelliconi just turned 82 years a couple of weeks ago, and it means that innovation has been always 17. Pelliconi decided to make innovation a solid process, and start to thinking about how to create innovation years over years. And so we start as an internal startup, then we became in the next 2 years a corporate functions, and now we did the first step, bringing Pelliconi innovation not only focused in Europe but also in the CEA region. That is one of our main region where we have a lot of focus. So that's why we opened an innovation center in China, especially in Suzhou, where we our facilities, and absolutely we are going to launch with our partner in crime, Mind the Bridge, and thanks for this, our outpost in Silicon Valley, because we would like to be in the earth of innovation. As you can see, so the department that I lead is a sort of a bridge between Pelliconi and the outdoor ecosystem. We are actually 12 people in my department. So if we compare the dimension of the innovation department with the size of the company, this is another relevant sign and a tangible investment on innovation coming from the company. Next, and the last slide, which are our challenges. Today we are setting up the challenges for the next 10 years, and we are already working on that. We can divide the challenges in the beverage sectors mainly on three main streams. The first one is sustainability and innovative materials, absolutely. So all the companies that are into the packaging sector have to provide more eco-friendly products. We produce also plastic closure in the US, in Orlando. And so the idea to bring more sustainable and absolutely innovative material, and we are talking about disruptive innovation at all, it might be one of our goals in the upcoming, not year, but in the upcoming month. The second stream where we are working on is the theme of recyclability and reusability. In the packaging today, recyclability is not a topic today, because we can name it a new old, because now the company that are virtuous and relevant, they are start talking about reusable packaging. So, and this is the new frontier. And talking about reusable packaging, it means not to see only our part, but to keep in mind the whole value chain. So, and this is a very good challenge felt by us, that we are a packaging producer, but mostly, and thanks to this, to our customers. So also in that case, so our focus is very important on recyclability and reusability. The third stream that we are looking for regards, it's close to recyclability, and is traceability and anti-counterfeiting. Traceability in many reasons, just to preserve the material, but also to fight against the anti-counterfeiting that is in some part of the world. This is something very felt by our customers. So we have to provide solutions to meet the needs of our customer, to make their product traceable and real and not anti-counterfeiting. That's all. I try to run very fast to cover probably some minutes for the other attendees. and thank you very much.
Thank you, Matteo. Thank you for the effort, at least. All right, now let's move to Noble, a company actually that is part of the team group, but Natalia will explain it a bit more. Natalia, welcome.
Thanks, Moran, and thanks for the invitation. Okay, I'll try to be very fast because we are running out of time. Noble is, as you said, the new company born just 1 year ago of Team Group. Team is the incumbent operator in telecom and ICT services in Italy. It is a very ambitious project built on three main assets. One, the experience of Team in the ICT services, the inclusion of all the infrastructure of Team data center in the company, and also the acquisition of a very important partner of Google, Noble. We take the same brand that is one of the most important system integrator and partner of Google. These three assets will be combined also with a strong partnership with Google, unique in Italy, where we are deployed with them all data center and the new two cloud region, the cloud region that we have in Milan and Turin. So essentially, Noble is positioning as the cloud company in Italy, for Italy, with the strong and pervasive asset of 18 data center already in the market, and where we deployed essentially 4 area of business. The first one is related to the cloud transformation, the cloud journey for the enterprise segment and public administration. The second one is related to all the data services, all the data center services. The third area is related and focus on customer experience and artificial intelligence. And the fourth one is related to the collaboration platform and modern workplace. These are the four areas on which we are scouting startup and partners to increase our partner ecosystem. What we are doing and what we are looking at. Sorry, can you go to the previous slide? We are deploying a large global startup program with the support of Google that will be in the market in the next month, that will be based on four important areas. Please, can you move to the previous slide? Oh, thanks. Which are the four pillars of this global startup? First of all, the cloud credits that we will deliver to the startup and that will give the opportunity to have support to their consumption and have all the testing of the services that they want to deploy. Second one, we will have the access to Nuvola and Google Cloud technology with specialists that will support startup to implement and test their solution. The third area that we will offer in the program are the demo center that as Nuvola we are deploying on Italian market, on the territory, starting from Turin and Milan and moving to the south. And fourth one, training and co-marketing activities that we will do with the startup. All this will be focused on a ready-to-market startup that we want to put in our portfolio and add to the four areas that I mentioned before in terms of business. Next, please. We are leveraging as group on some important assets. First of all, the team Open Innovation, VCAP, that we launched in 2009, that promotes and supports the interaction with the team and with the factories of team. Nuvola, Olivetti, that is focused on IoT, and Pelsi on cybersecurity. And for us, this is an important platform to manage and leverage the new solution to bring in our portfolio. Sustainable innovation for us, as for the other partners, is one of an important point that is one of the pillars of the program that we have deployed since 2009. Next slide, please. What we are doing now before launching the program that I mentioned before, thanks to the support of Mind the Bridge and the team VCAP, we have launched an important cloud challenge, which the main goal is to have on board international scale-up in three main areas. First of all, new solution for cloud. Second one, health solution. And third one, some solutions specific for cloud and for data center related to sustainability. The challenge will be closed in few days, 31 March, but we expect to have a good commitment in terms of presence of startup that want to work with Nuvola and with the team and group. And last slide, just to give you some more details about the cloud challenge that we are managing. The three areas are the one that I mentioned before, but essentially we will be focused on cloud native solution and a solution based on container as a service as a first area, to give more details. The second one on e-health will be focused on solution of monitoring and delivering of health services based on artificial intelligence, and the third one, as I said before, all the innovative and advanced solution related to sustainability and applicable to our data center and to our cloud transformation project. This is more or less the main area that we cover, and thanks again for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Attilio. Thanks again. So we're almost there. So now let's move to the last presentation with Hire and Andrea Conte. Andrea, welcome.
Hello, and thanks for having me. I don't even have any slides, so I will go even faster. We are Hire Europe, the European
we cannot see you though. So no problem with the slide, but it would be great to see you at least.
I don't know how I see myself, so sorry. Anyway, I'll get started and
please do. Yeah, thank you.
So Hire Europe, a European branch of the world's leading manufacturer of appliances. We are present in white goods all over. Just one data point that I want to share with you. We are the European leader in connected and smart appliances, and we have over 4 million registered users to our mobile applications. So we really have an interesting user base on which to build smart home and digital solutions together with innovative companies. We operate very much on an open innovation and ecosystem development basis. And in particular, we have an Open Innovation Center in Israel called Hire Hope that is sourcing innovation across different fields for us. And in Europe, we are operating what we call the Hire Europe Open Enterprise, which is basically an investment vehicle that has the opportunity to participate with capital as well in ecosystem players from the startup and mostly scale-up phase, which we work with ecosystemically. The challenges that we focus on are primarily related to the smart home. So anything tying to new business models for the fruition of durable goods, so servitization, usage-based insurance, rental, and so on and so forth, as well as generally smart home solutions and platforms to simplify the life of consumers in the kitchen, in the laundry journey, and in general in taking care of their home and the related environment. So we are looking forward to partnering up with startups and scale-ups that can help us develop interesting solutions for the end consumer in the smart home space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Great to see you finally. And thank you again for your effort of being very fast. So guys, that's all for the corporate presentation. Thank you to all our corporate partners. Now I'll give the floor back to Alberto. Alberto,
thank you, Maran, for driving this through. And now just to complete the program, I'd like to call on stage my Director of Business Development, Daniele Graverini. And together with Daniele, I think we have just a big announcement to announce. Actually, the launch event is scheduled for next week. And so, Daniele, will you just give us the headlines of what is MTB ecosystem is all about?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alberto, and pleasure to be here. I would like to close this opening with a cheer note. As you know, Mind the Bridge has always been at the front and center in the open innovation arena, working with large corporates, such as the ones you saw here, startups, but also government organizations to help them advance their local ecosystem. So we took some time to productize our services and all the expertise that we built over the past 15 years. And the result of this is a software platform called Ecosystem that works as a marketplace where corporates can upload their innovation challenges using methodology that we built in the past few years, and an artificial intelligence will match them with the scale-ups that fit these challenges with their products and value proposition. Vice versa, scale-ups can apply to the challenges, and also governmental organizations can support the innovation activities of the local companies through the platform. So we will officially launch the Ecosystem platform on the 30th of March. But here we prepared a short sneak peek through a video, so please enjoy the video. Thank you.
Welcome to Mind the Bridge Ecosystem, a digital matching platform for scale-ups and corporates. Ecosystem allows corporate innovation managers to find updated details such as pitch decks and other key information of the main scale-ups around the world, pre-qualified by the MTB team. In industrial verticals such as energy, mobility, fintech, healthcare, telco, construction, and more. As a part of our pre-launch campaign, we are allowing a select group of corporations to upload their innovation challenges on our Ecosystem platform. Get exclusive access to the platform for free and reap all of the benefits of being part of our platform. Contact us immediately to get access to MTB ecosystem.
So I hope you enjoyed it. And again, reach out to us if you'd like to know more about the platform. Alberto, back to you for the closing.
Yes, we are definitely excited about this new platform that will, as mentioned, will be officially launched next Wednesday, March the 30th at 5 p.m. Europe, 7 p.m. Dubai, UAE. And so please join us. We will have 6 international global partners together with us as a launching partner, and the platform is about to grow and scale. And so from the Digital Dubai is all by now. I will see you in Dubai on Monday, and thank you for being with us.